Hello, everyone. Welcome to the September edition of the Blazietechnologies webinar. I'm Stephen Blazy, and I'm joined tonight by David Goldfield, Tim Noonan, and several other members of our staff. Brian Blazy's here. Tonight, we're excited to celebrate the newly released September software update that broke this morning in the US for btspeak, and that includes enhancements to the podcasts and AI chat applications, improved QWERTY keyboard support as a peripheral device for your btspeak, and a number of other performance improvements that we'll be discussing tonight. So we'll be demonstrating some of those new features shortly, but first I want to share a quick announcement, and that is that Blazietechnologies is now active on Facebook. And if you already follow us on Facebook, please note that our Facebook page has changed, and the best way to find our new page is actually through our website. I wish I had a human readable URL that I could give to you, but the way that Facebook composes their URLs, I wouldn't be able to read it to you tonight. So if you use Facebook, we encourage you to visit and follow our new page. Please share it as much as possible with your friends. It's one more way to stay informed about what's happening with our products. We'll also include information there about software updates and blog posts, of course, what's happening on our website. It's a great way to share links to videos, including demos and new tutorials as they come out, announcements about our conference appearances, and the occasional deal or promotion when things like that happen. And so since we'll be monitoring the page on a regular basis, it's also a really convenient space, among others, to ask questions and start conversations with the community. It's a great environment for that. So you can find the Facebook page through our website by navigating to the bottom of the homepage, and there you'll find a Facebook link under our social media section. We're also going to be sharing that link on our other social media channels through Groups.io and probably through an email if you're registered through our site. So watch out for that. Okay, now we're going to jump to Brian Blazy, who's going to give you an update on BT Braille. Brian? See, I may need to unmute him. There you go.
Hello. Hi, I'm Brian Blazy, and this is just a quick update to let you all know that the BT Braille is progressing pretty much on schedule. No major delays to report. And we should be shipping our pre-production or our early adopter units in mid to late October. Any of you who want to join that program, you can call the sales line. You'll get me, and we can take care of that. The program is you pay I guess $2,000 down, and then the balance is due when we ship the unit. And unfortunately, at this point, this is only available to U.S. customers. And that's the price for the 20 cell. The 40 cell is pricing's a little different there. I don't have that sitting in front of me, but we can discuss that if you're interested when you call. David or Stephen, back to you.
And all of that pricing information is available on our website under the BT Braille tab. Okay, now we're going to jump into the September update and introduce new features and begin the demo, and then we'll follow it with Q&A. So I'll turn it over to David Goldfield.
Thanks so much. Thanks, Stephen. And hey, everyone, it's David Goldfield. And yeah, as Brian said, for the BT Braille 20, it's a $2,000 deposit and $3,000 for the BT Braille 40. And so, yep, give us a call. And if you have any questions about those products after we talk about the update, we'll be happy to answer those as well. This isn't just about the btspeak, but my part of this is going to be about the btspeak because we just released an update this morning literally as I was waking up. It was coming out, going live, and people have already downloaded it, and we really hope that you like the features. By the way, this may go without saying, but all of the features that we have in BT Speak are going to be in BT Braille. So everything that you're going to hear about tonight, even though we're really focusing on the BT Speak, you're going to see these features available in the BT Braille on day one when it launches. So there's a lot of exciting things that we have, and I may demo some of these for you. One of the things that we have that some of you will notice pretty quickly is a new updater. And there's some changes to the updater that makes the update messages a lot friendlier. And by friendlier, I mean that you get progress messages. So you, instead of hearing which components have been downloaded, you would hear things like, oh, it's 50% downloaded, and we're verifying the update, and now we're installing the update. So the progress messages, the status messages that you hear are much, much friendlier. The other thing that we have added and that we have released is a new copy of the BT Speak User's Manual, or I should say a new edition. This is the 4th edition of our manual. We have really put it through a lot of extensive revisions and updates, especially the section on the editor, which is one of the most important things on the BT Speak, because when you turn on your BT Speak, that's where you are. You're in the editor. We like to say the editor is front and center on the BT Speak. And of course, it will be on the BT Braille as well. So, but other sections of the manual have also been updated and modified. There's been a little bit of reorganization. Some sections, I know I did some work on the Thunderbird section to make it a little more accurate and a little bit easier to follow. So lots of work has been done on that. So it's on our website at blazietech.com, but it's also in the BT Speak. If you go to Options, go to Help, go to Guides and Tutorials, and you will see the user's manual in English. And we also have it in a few other languages. I know that it's in German and French, and I think Spanish is either there or it's going to be there. So these are available for, again, on our website or in the BT Speak. You can read it on your machine. Now, there's a lot of changes that we have made to the Podcasts app. This is really, I think, the bulk of the update. So a couple of months ago, we introduced a Podcasts app, and it was good, and it was stable, and people liked it. They gave us really good feedback on it, but we knew that there were some things that we wanted to add and modify, and we did that. So we now have, you could say it's version 2.0 of the Podcasts app. So one of the things that we added was the ability to stream a podcast. In previous updates, you had to actually download the podcasts first. And downloading is still good, and you can still do that. One of the benefits of that is if you're offline, like with me, if I'm in an Uber traveling somewhere, I don't have to be connected to the internet or a hotspot. I can listen to the podcasts on my BT Speak offline. But if you're connected to the internet, you might want to stream them. So I'll show you just how this works. I'm going to go into the Options menu.
Options menu, open.
And we'll go to Applications.
Applications menu, open.
We'll go to Media.
Media Applications menu, open.
Because Podcasts is a media app, and we'll open Podcasts.
Podcasts, now playing, in.
Okay, so I'm now in the Podcasts app. I'm in the Now Playing menu, I'm in the main menu pointing to Now Playing, and I've got 2 podcasts that I'm subscribed to, but I don't have any downloaded episodes. And I made sure that there were no downloaded episodes deliberately. So I'm going to jump to the end of the list.
Secrets of Doctor Who, 0 download.
Okay, I have one podcast called Secrets of Doctor Who, which should be no surprise to anybody who knows me, but I have another one
Double tap. 0 downloaded.
which is Double Tap. And it says I have 0 downloaded. So I don't have any episodes downloaded, but I want to stream the latest episode of Double Tap. So I'm going to press enter on this episode, and I'm going to get certain options here.
Double tap from new music to old Max. Double tap's 9th season kicks off. Played.
Okay, so it read the title, which was New Music to Old Max, and it said that it was played. I've played part of this. I'm going to move to the next option.
Double tap from audiobooks to ad blockers. Tech
Okay.
stories from the double tap from
That's
new music
another
to old
episode.
Max.
So
Double
let's
tap's
press
9th season
enter
kicks
on
off.
this
Show
episode.
notes.
And I've got show notes.
Download.
Now I could download this if I wanted to listen to it offline,
Stream.
or I can stream it. So because I'm connected to the internet, at least I sure hope so, I was the last time I checked, we'll press enter, and if all goes well, this should start to stream.
Now playing from
So
podcasts.
I was just parking my car, and then I saw you. The
And
gecko.
there it
You-
is. Now, that clearly is not Double Tap. That is an advertisement which gets inserted before Double Tap. But after the advertisement, the podcast would start. I paused that, by the way, with the standard pause play command chord that we have, which is 1, 2, 5, 6 chord. So there are some other things that we added.
Show notes.
Let me go back to,
Double tap from new music to old Max. Double tap. 0 downloaded.
and let's go to manage podcasts.
Search podcast index.
Some of these are the same. The first option in the manage podcast, by the way, we now call it manage podcasts. In the previous update, it was called manage feeds. Manage podcasts is a little bit friendlier and easier to understand. And that's another thing we did in the podcast app. We cleared up and cleaned up some of the terminology and just made things a little more, as they say in the industry, human friendly. So we've got, I can search the podcast index if I want to subscribe to another podcast.
Add podcast URL.
I can add a podcast URL. That was always there.
Delete podcast.
I can delete a podcast.
Delete old episodes.
And this was a thing that we put in, but there was a bug where it wasn't working the way it should have. So we can now delete older episodes, and we can specify a number of days. So if I press enter,
Delete podcasts older than how many days?
delete podcasts older than how many days. So if I want to delete
Podcasts command
all,
failed view errors.
Oops.
Default is no.
I apologize for that.
Would you like to send this log
No.
file to BT's
Okay.
podcasts? Oh.
So somehow I got a weird error. I don't know what's up with that. We'll look into that later. But what it said was, delete podcasts after how many days. So I could specify, let's say 3, and then all of the podcasts older than that would be deleted. Another thing that we added was the ability, this was something that was also highly requested. You can now move podcasts to another storage medium. So instead of having all of your podcasts downloaded to your internal memory where it might consume more space than you might like, you can now move them to a USB thumb drive or a micro SD card. So you do have that option. So if you have a micro SD card that's a terabyte, you can download lots of podcasts and not have to worry as much about consuming too much space. When you download podcasts, the progress information is a little bit nicer. It tells you what percentage of the podcast you are actually downloading. We had a few issues where when you subscribed to certain podcasts, you would get some unexpected errors. We think that we have fixed that. So you should have a much better experience subscribing to podcasts. If you do notice any issues, though, please let us know. Either email us or give us a call. You also now, in the Manage Podcasts app, you have the ability to delete played podcasts. So if you have downloaded 6 podcasts, but you've played 3 of them, you can just instantly delete all of the ones that you've played and keep the ones that you haven't. Our AI chat app now uses GPT-5, so that's a big deal. You've probably heard about the ChatGPT coming out with version 5, and we now use that in our AI chat app. We also added the ability to access chords on a QWERTY keyboard in Blazie mode. You could always write in the editor on Blazie mode, but you could not. We used to allow Alt-O for options and things like that, and we had to remove those, and now we have them back as function keys. I won't go into all of those keys, but they're in the release notes, which you can access on your machine or on our website if you're curious. We've also updated Wikipedia. So if you've had some issues accessing Wikipedia recently, that should be fixed. There was also a bug that someone reported in the phone book where when you try to edit a contact, you might find that the address was removed. That has been fixed, so the phone book should be a much better experience. Another thing that some folks have reported to us was an issue with the file translator. For example, if you took a Braille file and turned it into a Word file, you might notice that it was not doing a good job preserving the lines sometimes, so that should now be working better. And another thing, this isn't the last thing we've added, but it's the last thing I'll cover, is if you open an image file, like a PNG file or a JPEG, if there is text, it will now do OCR on that file and put that in a file so that you can read the text. We already do that actually with PDF image files, but now we do it with other image files. So this should really make it a lot nicer to do OCR on images. So this is all in the btspeak, and this is a free update, by the way, so anybody can download that update on their btspeak, and if you have questions about that, please ask. Stephen, I'm going to turn it back to you, and I'm going to be stepping away for about 5 minutes, and then I'll return.
All right, great. Thank you, David. Tim Noonan, do you have anything to add to the update that you'd like to share with everyone?
Thanks, Stephen. Just a clarification with the documentation with the user's guides. The latest edition, the fourth edition, is the English version, and as best I know, Stephen Clower might correct me if I'm wrong, but the other users' guides are one step behind. This is always the challenge when we have volunteer translators on the job, but even the previous edition is pretty accurate. Did want to quickly talk about the using a QWERTY keyboard in Blazie mode, in other words, the editor and so on, but not the desktop. If you're connecting a QWERTY keyboard to your btspeak, then we've sort of got an interim measure where we are using these function keys. F1 brings up context help, F2 brings up the options menu. We haven't added equivalents for every chord that can't be produced on a QWERTY keyboard. We are looking at some other approaches, so keep your ears open for future possible updates with QWERTY access. And if you do use a QWERTY keyboard in Blazie mode, please let us know on list if you're encountering any issues there, as it is experimental. With ChatGPT and us supporting ChatGPT 5, we're using the chat interface, which basically means it's just text that you type, your questions, and textual answers. It's not like the GPT Plus facility where you've got all of those new facilities, but it is more responsive. It is supposedly less error prone. but we still support ChatGPT for Turbo as the alternate GPT model because it's a bit older, a bit slower, but it is based on a much broader set of web pages and knowledge. So if you're looking for some general knowledge that you think is on the web, sort of up to the end of 2023, then you may find that model is more effective. Like if I were to search for myself as someone with an interest in voice, then ChatGPT for Turbo would tell me about myself. ChatGPT 5 would just make it up as best it could, thinking it knows what it's talking about. So the flip model command in AI chat allows you to switch back and forth between those two models. Depending on what you've got saved in your configuration file, you may need to use the flip model command once or twice to ensure that ChatGPT 5 is what is running. And the other good thing about it is that it's current to October 2024, so the data is more current. Also a minor change in the demo I did last month that had a bit of a hiccup. That happened because I had done an AI chat conversation that had been stored, and then I asked some questions with Ask AI from in the editor, and it clobbered my previous chat conversation. We've now made it so that if you're asking one-off questions, they're not added to the history, and they're also not disrupting your previous conversation. So that's just a bit of a tweak there, and all of the conversations and the chat history are fully marked up with headings. So if you load them into the editor, you can jump through your questions and ChatGPT's answers very easily through headings. So I think that's pretty much it from me at this stage.
Just wanted to amend. This is Stephen Clower here, by the way. I'm one of the beta testers slash occasional volunteer contributors here. Regarding the documentation, the current English manual, which ships, is only in English at the moment. German and French were received very recently, and those are current for June, so that's still going to mostly be relevant. The Spanish, there's a getting started guide that we include, or that, that Blaze includes with the btspeak. That has been translated, and as far as I know, that is current. There's no full Spanish user guide yet, and there are plans on incorporating localized help. In particular, I know that German help does exist. It didn't make it in time for the September update, but hopefully that will come in October. And that's all I got. Back to you, Tim.
Great, yeah, and there were some very minor wording changes in the getting started guide, but nothing of real significance in terms of actual instructions. So the German, if it was the German getting started, will be virtually current.
Very nice. Okay, thank you, Tim and Steve. I think we're going to go to the Q&A, and we have Michael Harris here. Hi, Michael.
I'm hoping there's an easy answer to this question. If not, I'll call tech support someday. But I downloaded both halves of the update, where you had to download the first part and then register and wait an hour and download the second part. And I went into the podcast app and just to check it out. I think I had opened it before a long time ago, but I don't recall subscribing to any feeds or anything. And the only thing I can get it to tell me is that no podcast directories were found, and that it's checking SD card, USB, and was it home directory or something? And it just says if you put any media on drives that you've removed, please insert it again. And if I hit enter, it just closes the podcast app, and there's nothing else I can do. that I can tell of anyway.
Look, Michael, this is something I'll have to look at. What we did when we had the support to move podcasts to external media. Sometimes we weren't sure where the media was, and if we couldn't find it, we'd go and look. And we put a fix in very close to release that could have created this problem. So I'm a little unsure because unfortunately in our testing, most of us have been using the app before, and maybe you've caught something. It didn't give you a choice of where you'd like the podcasts to go. It just didn't give you any option. Is that your understanding?
Yeah, it said looking for it said no podcast directories found. Then it said looking for candidates. I'm checking, and it mentioned three different things. And then it said, I can't remember the exact wording. I've got it here if you want it. Hold on, you probably can't hear it, but I'll tell you what it says. Podcast directory not found. Searching for candidate. We did not find any valid. Oh, searching home directory, USB and SD card. And then if I push .4 chord, if you stored your podcast on removable media, make sure it's inserted and try again. And that's all. It won't do anything else. If I hit space or Z chord, well, I was hitting. I hit enter. If I hit enter, the app just closes.
Hey,
All
Michael.
right, Michael. Well, you may have found a somewhat disappointing and serious issue. So after this
Leave it to
meeting,
me,
thank you for the news. We'll look into it, and we'll obviously have to sort something out. So thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Okay.
I'm wondering if removing I think it's the podcastfox.json file. I wonder if that might help. It would remove any, work that you may have done previously with that app. But if you haven't subscribed to any podcasts, Tim, I don't know if you have any feelings about that, but
Yeah, that's what I'm unsure of, really. I would have thought it was okay, fresh. And yes, so the that file's a hidden file, I think, David, in the home directory.
yes. Yes.
We might have to put a note somewhere or send something to the list once we're finished here, if there is a workaround.
Yeah, and Michael, if that doesn't work, call us tomorrow and ask for support.
Okay, so how would I find those?
So in the file menu, if you wanted to try this, you could, from the file browser, you would press H to show hidden files.
Oh, okay.
Look for a file called, I think it's podcastfox.json. Remove that, just delete it like any other file. It'll say, are you sure you want to delete this? Just say yes. And then reopen the Podcasts app and see if it behaves in a more, in a way that's expected.
For a new user.
Yeah, for a new user, yeah.
Okay. And I might have subscribed to some. I don't remember. I just remember I did go into it before the update like once, but I don't think I subscribed to any. I honestly don't remember.
So if you delete this file and if it does correct the problem, what will happen is what you should be in is placed in the podcast help file. So if you find yourself thrown into the podcast's help file, just press Z chord, and then you should be in a menu starting with Now Playing, and then there's a Manage Podcasts app.
Okay, I will play around and do that, and if it works, if you guys are still on, I'll let you know, and if not, I'll let you know on the list.
Okay, yeah,
Right,
let
thanks,
us
Michael.
know on the list, and we'll take it from there.
All right,
Okay,
thank you.
Michael.
Thanks.
Let's go to Becky.
Hi, thank you. I just had a general question, and I don't know if this is answerable yet. You said on the list to someone's question that this update is free, but the next one you may have to either subscribe or pay $50 to get the next update. Are you going to distinguish between, say, let's say in Michael's case, there was a podcast error. Will those errors be free updates, or will that be part of a paid update that we'd have to do? I just want to see if we distinguish between um the different updates over just one policy.
Well, I can answer this. I think if there's a serious issue with an update, patches to that will be absolutely free for those who are eligible. Um, and it's kind of a case by case basis. We can't really say until we know how seriously impacted customers are by it. But certainly we won't leave people in the lurch if there's a big issue.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to see how that's going to work. When you do future updates, is it mainly going to be new components that enhance what we've already got, or is it going to be updates existing, or do you guys know yet?
Becky, it's going to
Um,
be a mix of both, and it typically always is.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah.
Very often we add new applications, and at this point, a year and a half after btspeak is released, we have so many applications, and our customers are asking for new features to be brought in to make those better. And so we're a little bit slow on the new application stuff, but I expect that to pick up again too. But to your point about the purchasing individual updates, the best way about this is to subscribe to a maintenance contract, because there you get exchanges, and the warranty is on your btspeak is extended beyond the 90-day period. And so if anything happens to your unit, it's fully covered, and you get a rapid exchange should something happen, on top of all of the updates for the subscription period, as long as you're subscribed to that maintenance contract.
Okay, thank you. That's good to know.
Okay, thanks, Becky. We're gonna go to James. Hi, James. How are you? Good to see you on the webinar.
Well, hi. Like a child on Christmas morning, I excitedly ran over to the update option in my btspeak menu, and it worked. The info place shows that it's up to date. Like when I go into the letter I after going into my options menu, it shows me the 9/1 or the 9/2/2025. But the release notes aren't updated. The help topics where it shows guides and tutorials, the first one is what's new in this release. Still says July 1st, 2025, and it has all the old information about like Newsline and stuff. Um,
Yeah. Did you download the updater? Did you run the updater a second time?
no, should I?
Yeah. So we mentioned this, but of course, if you're looking at the release notes on the machine, you won't see it. But what you have to do, and this is just for this update, this is not going forward. You have to run after you run that first update. There's an option in the btspeak management menu called Register, um, and just press enter on that. It'll say, do you want to do this? Y or N? You press Y for yes, and then wait for, well, if you're doing it tonight, you may as well wait till tomorrow, because we have to manually enter the data for your unit in the database. By tomorrow morning, run the updater again, and you'll hear that the messages are different. It'll just say downloading 25%, 50%. It's much faster. Then when it restarts, you will have all of the newest updates, including the newest help files, release notes, and manual. That's just a one-time thing for this update only. So for the next time we release an update, you just run it once as normal and you're good to go.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I just sent my registration request.
Good.
So I didn't see anything about the well, I heard a rumor about the subscription and okay, so Is it on the list somewhere or like announced somewhere? Where can I find the details about that?
You can go to our website, actually, blazietech.com. Go to the link that says shop. And well, actually, two of the things you'll see is either a monthly maintenance contract or an annual maintenance contract. The monthly maintenance contract is $20 a month, and for the annual, it's 200 a year. You can get it as a one-time purchase just for the next year. There's also a radio button for a renewable maintenance contract that just renews year after year automatically.
Oh, I see. And then the software updates will be included in those renewable. But if you don't have it, you pay for the software updates.
I think it's after this update, yes. I mean, so far we've been giving software updates away at no cost for everyone, whether they were under warranty or not. But the plan long term is that after the warranty expires, the maintenance contract gives you, as of now, two benefits. There will be some additional ones down the line, but the two benefits you get are not only updates, but you also, as it was, I think it was Stephen talked about, that you get exchanges, rapid exchanges, if there's a hardware issue that we cannot resolve over the phone. And if in a case like that, we send an exchange out very quickly, you get that, you keep the exchange, send the old one back. So that's one of the big benefits that you get when you have a maintenance contract. And it's renewable. So some companies, even companies for the sighted, I have a Dell laptop. I can only get a maintenance contract for a certain amount of years, and then the manufacturer says, sorry, you can't renew it anymore. We allow you to renew it continually. So we don't just give you 1 or 2 years and then you're done. So basically that gives you the updates, but it also assures that you can get exchanges sent out at no additional cost.
Okay, gotcha. Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, James.
Stephen, if I missed anything, or Chris, if I missed anything about that, please feel free to jump in and fill in the
Can you
blank.
hear me?
I think it was
David, you did not, but
Okay.
let me add that I did see a request come in for a registration, and there's a discrepancy in the database that I'm working on. So give it a try in about 10 minutes, please.
Okay.
Oh, was that James?
That was for James.
Okay,
This
that's
is
cool.
Oh, thanks. I have to send you back the. I think I
No, you're
lost
fine.
the link.
You sent what you have to send. I'm just telling you that I see a discrepancy, and I'm going to fix it and give it another shot.
Okay.
There you go, James. You don't even have to wait the whole
Thanks,
hour.
James.
Wow.
Hey, there is one thing I would like to add on the update policy. This is Brian Blazy. The $50 fee for an update, that brings you to current. So you could skip 4 or 5 updates and then pay the $50, and that brings you to wherever we are at that point in time. You get all 4 of the updates, in other words, for the $50. Or if you waited a year, you could pay the $50 and bring it up to date immediately at that point. So it's not $50 per update.
Oh, good. So there's not going to be people hawking versions of Blazy version 2026, like Snow
No.
Leopard for Mac, like I have the disc. Anyway.
Right.
Yeah, that's
Correct.
a good point.
Yep. We did the same thing at Blazy Engineering. If you didn't get the maintenance agreement for the products that you bought from us, you could pay a one-time fee and brings you up to whatever the current update is at the time that you pay for it.
Okay, we're going to go to Jim.
How are you? Good to talk to you all. I just had a question about the registration. I didn't quite understand it. Are you re-registering your unit because I did purchase the update, or is it just for the database that you're changing over to?
Well, this is a unique situation because we're upgrading the updater, the utility that does the update, and so that's the reason for the unique two-step upgrade procedure this time around. And
Oh,
it's a unique thing specific to this update. So you won't have to worry about this going forward. We wanted to make that clear.
I thought that might be the case. And also, when I updated my desktop software, it did a restart and it didn't do anything. I had to hold the power button in to get the machine to restart. But after that, it seemed to be okay. So,
Well, that's great.
yeah. Anyway, that's all I have. And thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Okay, we're gonna go to Charlene. Hi, Charlene.
Hello.
Hi,
You've probably
Charlene.
gone over this a million times, but I was just wondering what kinds of media are available now or what you're looking to put on the BT Speak, like like Bookshare and Daisy things and Kindle maybe.
Well, I can tell you that Bard is coming soon. We're waiting for Bard to upgrade their services, and so we've been collaborating with the folks at NLS to get that on BT Speak, and we're there. We're just waiting for them to upgrade their service and let us proceed.
Oh,
Now
good.
with Bookshare, we're asking customers to reach out to Bookshare and ask them to offer Bookshare on BT Speak. That would be very helpful for us.
Yeah, and Charlene, you asked about Kindle. So for the most part, Kindle, there's no Kindle app available for our platform. What they do have is something called Kindle Cloud Reader.
Yes.
And Kindle Cloud Reader is essentially a website where you go on the web. It's a little like Bookshare Reader, if you're familiar with that.
Okay.
Um, so in theory, what you can do is go on the Kindle Cloud website with any browser and read any of the Kindle content that you've purchased. Unfortunately, the Kindle Cloud Reader is not accessible. At least as of the last time I tried it. And I don't mean it's not accessible to the BT Speak, it's not accessible at all. And so, similar to Bookshare, if people would engage in a little bit of friendly advocacy and write to Amazon's support, particularly their accessibility support, and basically just say, hey, your Kindle Cloud Reader's not accessible with screen readers. Can you fix it so that it is? Then, in theory, you should then be able to read Kindle content on your BT Speak through a web browser. And I would love to be able to see that happen. But unfortunately, there's not a lot we can do about it. I would dare say there's probably very little we can do about it other than reaching out to Amazon and trying to advocate because we can't make it accessible. So that's what I would say about Kindle.
Okay. Yeah, because Amazon talks about how they're making things accessible, but there are gaps for sure.
There are, and I suspect that it may not be deliberate. It could just be that it's under their radar because they don't get a lot of feedback on it. The feedback they mainly get on are their devices and their apps for Windows and Mac and iOS and Android. Kindle Cloud Reader probably doesn't get a lot of attention in the blind community. And on one level, I can understand why, but on another level, it would be nice if they could fix it because then it would be accessible to any screen reader, including the BT Speak. That's theoretical because since it isn't accessible, we can't really test it. So I would say just as we encourage you to reach out to Bookshare, consider reaching out to Amazon if you'd like to see that happen.
So with Bookshare, we would have to ask Bookshare to connect with you somehow, to.
Yeah, you could write to support@bookshare.org and just tell them that you're a btspeak user and you would really like to see Bookshare as an app on the btspeak. Now, I will say, and I was actually going to demo this tonight, but with the update coming out, I decided to postpone it. I will say that you technically can access Bookshare on the btspeak. You can use one of our web browsers like Firefox, and you could go on bookshare.org just as you can on a Mac or Windows device, and you could search for books and browse the catalog and even download books and even read those downloaded books, particularly if you download them as a BRF. You couldn't read them directly right now as a DAISY file, but you could read the BRF versions. And if you downloaded other versions like Word or EPUB, we could convert those into plain text. So technically, if you're willing to use a web browser, which is really easy to do, it's pretty accessible. Bookshare is a very accessible site. You could do a search for a book, download it, and read it right on your btspeak. Or if you have a Windows or Mac, you could download the book on your Windows or Mac and then transfer it from that computer to a btspeak, which I've done and read successfully. So you could do that. You just have to make sure that the grade of Braille that you're using on Bookshare matches the Braille grade on your btspeak. So if you're downloading a book in EBAE, English Braille American Edition, or the old grade 2 Braille as we would call it, make sure that your btspeak Braille table is set for US English for best results.
Okay.
So you can actually do it. Any of Bookshare's content, books, they also have magazines and newspapers through NFB Newsline. You can do that. And by the way, that's a good segue just to remind people that as far as content, NFB Newsline is on the btspeak. If you have an account with them, you can download any of the magazines and newspapers and read them on your btspeak, and even have them automatically download every morning automatically as an option. That was something we added a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
David, Tim here, just a couple of extra points. With the Bard, Stephen Blazier, I think it's going to be Bard Braille, not Bard Audio. Is that correct? Which is pretty much what is available on custom devices that you can will be able to access the Braille.
For version 1, it'll
catalog.
be Braille only.
Yeah, that's pretty standard. With Bookshare, there is certainly available on Mac and Windows in the browser a book reader that is available online. So that may work as well with the one of the browsers under the desktop. So you can technically read a book online rather than having to download it first. They've got some built-in voices and also sort of text windows that you can navigate. But I haven't tested that on the device, so no guarantees there.
And I totally forgot about it, and I just mentioned it about 10 minutes ago. So thank you for reminding me about that. Yeah, that's sort of their cloud reader, the Bookshare reader on the web. You're right, it should work.
Yeah.
In theory, it should work. I'll test that in the next week because I'm curious. Because I love Bookshare. They're one of my go-to sources for books.
I'm going to move on now to Brandon. Brandon, do you have a question?
Okay. Will somebody ever do a tutorial on the new update change? As far as the new way to update and stuff for those that may not have a btspeak at the moment.
Well, the new way to update going forward past this update is going to be very much like the old update, except it's going to be much faster and more intuitive because the feedback to you, the user, is going to make more sense to you.
Oh, and any plans on a App, the folks over at Numa Solutions with Mike Calvo and the team over there. Any
Mhm.
plans for an app for the BT Speak for that product? I know I asked that back at the Florida meeting. I don't know if anything's happened since then.
Yeah, I think I was at that Florida meeting.
You were.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know. We need to reach out to Numa Solutions and see what can be done. I think that's really the next step. So it's probably not. If it can happen, it's probably not going to be able to happen quickly because there'd need to be a lot of development and testing. But we could certainly reach out to Numa Solutions, and we're able to find them, and we can reach out to Mike Calvo about that.
All right. Thank you, Brandon. We're going to go to Renee. Hi, Renee.
Yeah, hi. I didn't quite understand what you said. If your settings on there are in grade two, the Old English grade two Braille, and books are now in UEB Braille, is it my understanding that they will not automatically read in UEB on that device? You have to go back into the settings because in order to change that, or will it just read in UEB? If you download it.
Sure. So with Bookshare, you actually have a choice. Now with Bard,
Right, you don't.
you don't. Any books since 2016 are in UEB, and maybe even a few prior to that.
Mm-hmm.
But with Bookshare, those books are kind of generated on demand. So with Bookshare, even if it's a brand new book that they just added, I can choose to download that as an older EBAE grade 2 version.
Right, but if you download a Braille book in Bard,
Mhm.
and it is going to be in UEB, even
Yes.
though your settings are in grade two Braille, it'll still read in UEB, is correct?
So if your BT Speak settings are in the older code, which we refer to that as US
Yeah.
English, it will mostly read mostly okay. Um, but there may be certain instances where it won't, and so switching over to UEB for reading Bard titles, at least titles since 2016, is preferable. I think that will give you the best experience.
Okay. All right. Well, all right.
And
This
and
is
the hard, Tim here. The heart of the problem is that with a BRF file, it doesn't tell you what version of Braille code is being used. It's just effectively a kind of text file, but containing Braille. And that's one of the things with the new Braille standards that are starting to come out, that they will contain that sort of information. But there's no way easily, at any rate, for the BT Speak to know what sort of Braille it's reading other than by looking at the table that you've got set. So it's a bit imperfect, unfortunately, and there's not a real lot we can do out of the box.
Yeah. So the bottom line is if you're going to read a book from Bard, if you know that it's starting in 2016, you're best to put the BT Speak in UEB, at least for the duration of reading that book. But for Bookshare, you get a choice.
And that'll be the same thing as for the BT Braille, that rule.
Yes.
Okay.
For now, and the reason why I say for now is because once eBraille becomes a little more ubiquitous and available, and if we eventually support that standard, then you might have a little more flexibility with that.
This is Stephen Clower. I do also want to just add, specifically just for reading Braille, like physically reading Braille on a Braille display. It doesn't necessarily matter what your Braille table is set to because you'll just see the Braille dots just raw from the file. So in that case, it won't matter. But if you are going to be using speech to have it back translated, that's
No.
where it matters.
Oh, okay. That's better. That's better. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, with a Braille display, you could read grade 3 Braille, and as long as you're not depending on speech
Or Braille
to read
music.
that. Or Braille music, yeah, that's right.
Thank you, Renee. We'll take one more question here from Michael.
Just a sad ending. Deleting that PodFox JSON thing didn't seem to correct the problem. I powered down, powered it back up, still same error I was getting as before. Just thought I'd let you guys know.
Good heavens.
Thanks for that, Michael. It looks like we have got a bit of an issue. We did do testing, and then maybe a change we made after that broke that testing. But we'll update everybody with what we come up with. So thanks for the info.
Sure.
Okay, well, if that's it, we're going to end it here. And I want to say thank you to everyone for joining us tonight. These webinars are always probably as helpful to you as they are for us and our development support teams. So I do thank you for joining us, and we'll see you at the next one.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content like this.